Today on the program, FGNCC back data tariff hike, and the APC PDP in war of words over upcoming River State rerun election and scheduled to hold tomorrow. And later on the program, a Minister of Sports and Youth Development, Solomon Dalong, gives reasons for not paying members of the Super Falcons the allowances. Says they didn't expect them to win the championship. I'll be joined by Babajide Kolade Titoju and Benga Onitilo. A journalist hangout starts now. On November 1st this year, the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, gave a directive to telecom operators in the country to increase their data tariffs. This tariff hike is meant to take effect from 1st of December, but the Nigerian Senate asked the NCC to immediately halt the proposed internet data tariff hike. And the Senate Committee on Communications was mandated to investigate the proposed hike. This proposal has seen Nigerians protest the hike on social media. The Communications Minister, Adebayo Shitu, has expressed his support for the planned hike in data tariff by the telecom service providers in Nigeria, arguing that they needed a conducive business environment to operate, with the Minister of Communications expressing government support for the hike. Shouldn't Nigerians brace up for hike in data price? Thank you, gentlemen, once again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Let me go to you, BK. What do you think? At last, now we now understand where the federal government is talking about this data tariff hike.
Yes, I think from the beginning, I didn't believe that the minister did not know about the increase that the NCC proposed. When he was cornered by journalists and asked the question, he said he was not aware that he was hearing it just like them.
Yes.
But with the defense that he has put up for the NCC, with the way the minister has pushed the position, the interest of the telecom operators, it's extremely difficult for me to believe his story that he was not aware that this was not going to happen, that this was going to happen, because he was begging the Senate to work with the NCC to protect the interests of the telecom operators, that the Senate should work hand in hand with the NCC to protect the interest of the operators by finding the right balance between the interest of the consumer and the interest of the operators.
But isn't it making sense then?
But so, you know, his argument weighed heavily on the side of the operators. You see, there's always a tendency for people when they get into government to completely lose touch with the rest of us. Because I read what the minister was saying. He was heavily on the side of the telecom operators. I would have expected Dambata, who heads the regulatory agency, that's the NCC, to be the one talking the way our minister was talking. Because, look, anything that inflicts pain or burden on the Nigerian people, no matter how little, it shouldn't be a minister that will be pushing for it.
Because he said
you must find other people to do this.
When you talk about price of data in Africa, Nigeria is the least. That's the argument, and even the dollar, the price of naira to dollar, that's part of the argument of the minister.
Yes, and the responsibility of government is to keep the value of our currency stable. Is to work hard at ensuring that our currency is strong. All those African countries that they are talking about, their currencies are stronger than ours now. Yes, just check. It's like everybody has left Nigeria behind. That's the way things are. I do not enjoy it when people in government talk like this. Look at the last time we had this tariff hike in the energy sector, in the power sector. It was in this same manner that Fashola was talking. In fact, he was saying that whether people like it or not, that it had to happen, and that the Senate had no power to stop the operators from increasing tariff, that they had no power, this and that. But put yourself in the position of the people. Feel the pain of the people. Go out there on the street and see how people are suffering. It shouldn't get to the point where Nigerians start turning guns against one another before we know that there's fire on the mountain. So I do not enjoy seeing a Nigerian minister canvassing for increment of any sort, no matter how desirable. Other people should be the ones doing it.
Yes, and maybe the minister should be on the side of Nigerians. What do you think?
Well, one key thing I want to bring up for what the minister said, he said the operators are operating in a very unfriendly environment, backed up by two things. Number one, epileptic power supply, and also security issues. And these, when you take these two key issues, those are the failure of governance.
And even the dollar, the argument
hold
about
on,
the dollar.
Hold on, we'll get there.
Yes.
I'm trying to build a case there. These two key things he has mentioned, power, security related issues that are creating an hostile business environment for these people, are where governance has failed. So indirectly, you are now saying when you pay more, you are able to bridge that gap. You can keep them a soft landing. For them. Yeah. Jide mentioned something. The key issue, I just studied a report about the Global Index of Affordability 2014, 2015, 2016 for data, voice globally, and Nigeria ranks in an abysmal level there. And it's talking about countries all over the world, even places like Morocco, they are doing very well. You have to look at affordability. And when you talk about the strength of the currency, you are talking about disposable income. If you are telling us Nigeria is having the cheapest in West Africa, the question you should be asking yourself, what is the affordability in terms of disposable income you have to spend on data? An average Nigerian lives on less than $2, almost 70% of Nigerians. I was looking at the statistics in that report.
But $2
over 100 million, is around about 140, 142 million Nigerians live on less than $2 a day.
$2 now is
no. It has even shrunk. I think it's like $1 now. We can now rank it between 100 naira to 300 naira daily. You are not talking in terms of affordability. Affordability is the issue they have failed to address, and the failure that makes the business environment unfriendly for these telcos is a failure of government. And
Nigerians should not bear this
brunt. So what you are saying in essence, you are saying because the key thing about telecoms, okay, let me give you an instance. Virgin Telecom just came into the market in the United Kingdom. And guess what? They are offering about 15 pounds per month for the services, and they're going to give you about 5,000 minutes free to be able to call UK lines.
Unlimited
internet access.
Yes.
And all the telcos, other telcos, the established ones are charging £60 per month. Guess what happened? Everybody trooped in. And he leveraged on something called unified, what did they call it? I think they call it unified licensing for telecoms that grants you the capacity to enter into a market with any form of technology where you're able to combine technology and service in providing data services, in providing content, and also providing voice. Guess what? They say they are protecting the small telcos. Smile. Right now, that is one of the small telcos they are protecting as the cheapest voice rate in Nigeria.
Yes.
Using a disruptive technology of a mobile application. Disruptive technology. So the question you begin to ask yourself, do these people have interest in these small telco companies? Are they directors there?
And that's a big shareholders? Let me take it to Jide, because even the minister is speaking like a stakeholder.
He's speaking like a
shareholder. He's a shareholder.
He's speaking like a shareholder.
Because I thought they were meant to be on our side.
I think that it was thoroughly tactless of the bearded one to speak in that manner. Honestly, the bearded one didn't speak tactfully. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Because I hate to find myself in a position where people throw some funny questions at me, and I'm inclined to defend some of the people that I have defended from the beginning. You understand? It becomes difficult. How do I justify this, for example? If somebody were to come to me, taunting me about what the minister has said, if somebody were to say, you see, I told you this government does not mean well, what kind of defense do I offer? I mean, I don't know.
So you're in the dilemma, right?
What do I say? Will I say it was misquoted?
I know it's embarrassing, Jude.
Will I say it was misquoted when people can see him say it on TV? Will I say what happened was lip syncing? How do I just defend this? One thing is, before you come up with this kind of increment, you must activate all the platforms that need to be activated, because the NCC as an agency meets periodically with stakeholders.
Yes.
The different consumer groups, the different interest groups, consumer protection, groups within the telecom industry. There was no meeting,
no stakeholders,
no stakeholders meeting with these people before you came up with this. And the first thing that the NCC told us was, we had wide consultation within the industry. Wild consultation with only the telecom operators. Yeah. Is that the way it's done? That's not the way it's done. So you didn't meet with the end users, the representatives of the end users. You never had a meeting with them.
Maybe the trade union, Congress, the NLC, or thereabouts. They
don't even have to know. Within the NCC has some groups through which they organize town hall meetings and all that. You see, there are programs on TV that we see where people come to talk about the problems of the telecom sector, problems of poor services and all that. There are groups, there are avenues, there are platforms, and we are saying that no attempt was made, or it is not on record that any of these opportunities was taken. Any of these groups was met with by the NCC before they arrived at the decision to say go ahead and increase tariff. But the NCC said, we met with stakeholders. So the stakeholders, a very small group of stakeholders, made up only of the telecom operators. So that can't be right.
So apparently it looks like even they met with the minister before. He denied the fact.
I said when I watched him saying that, look, I'm hearing this for the first time, I didn't believe the story. But the frenetic defense, that he has put up for what has happened has now convinced me that he knew about this increase before it was
We need to go on the short break. When we'll come back, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. So welcome back. You're still watching Journalist Hangout. While we went to a break, we're still discussing even this issue right behind the break. And you see, a part of what we talked about just in some few seconds ago, that's what we'll take from there. I was wondering, because if the NCC had left the telecoms, the providers, maybe if they had gone to that meeting Jide talked about, they would have looked for a way out of all this instead of increasing the price. If you get what I mean. Because even some few weeks ago, we have some companies, I don't want to do adverts, but some companies like Glow, they were crashing down. Every day we're still data. So I think they still have the right, or they have the strength to crash down. So why is it that the federal government is fighting for them to increase when they still want to crash down?
The three key things we keep, I felt NCC and the minister will be laying up at the forum when they were speaking, and even the people that are in the House of Representatives that are supposed to. There are key issues to look at in terms of policies. You look at regulations, and you look at programs. Three key things that you have to look at. When you look about policies now, you look at the power sector. Have we addressed the critical issue of the power? When you have two generators per base station, they also put one or two securities where you have base stations. You still have the issue of Omonile coming to collect money.
And even taxation.
Even taxation by the state government.
Taxation.
So if we begin to now say we are comparing, the question we begin to ask government is this. Fine, we have not been able to wriggle our way out of the power issue we have. But what kind of subventions are you giving to these companies?
Like incentives.
Because right now we give waivers on all sorts of things in Nigeria to rent seekers. But people that are adding critical value
And creating jobs.
creating jobs that are supposed to enhance economy, because internet.
Before you go on, since independence, there is no sector that has created as much jobs
Like
as the
telecom.
telecom sector.
Telecoms. They've created millions of direct and indirect jobs.
Yes.
So if you are not going to provide subventions to them, and I just feel somebody should just come up with the data and the taxes these guys have paid since 2001 till date is humongous. And when you are looking at government not being able to create, because government is supposed to create enablement. You are not supposed to be a regulator and also be a player. You regulate, but you are also making you are also determining how they play in that market. That is not your business. Government should not even be involved in the business of telecoms. Now, we spoke earlier. We were talking about what about solar as a bridge gap? But the question you'll be asking yourself is this: when they bring those things in, do you know the import duty on some of those things?
So that's where the government comes in.
So that's where the government comes in as a stopgap before we are able to address the concerns of power. What about other alternative sources of energy where government can grant them waivers?
So you're saying even at least Mr. Shitu would have been more popular today.
He would have been more popular.
If they are looking for solution.
No.
Not to.
Look, it's not only Mr. Shitu, the legislatures themselves. They have not, look, they need to have a robust debate and engagement. How are we going to ensure there is affordability? Don't forget, inflation is almost 20%.
I know.
So,
and the same salary.
And inflation.
And some people are not even
and
paying.
And what is driving the inflation? The cost of petroleum products. Because everything is now powered by PMS, diesel. And that is what is driving up inflation.
And that one is even double already.
It's double already. So devaluing, our currency has been devalued by close to almost 100%.
So even since they doubled the petrol, at least they would have even given Nigerians some incentive.
There's no soft landing anywhere.
The taxing,
no soft landing.
Everything.
So you keep taxing these telcos the same way. You keep putting pressures on them. But they are business people as well, and they must survive.
Okay, we cannot even, now we cannot put all the blames in front of the telecom operators, really. But let's talk about the services we even getting already. Are they even okay? I tell you, because if you buy, because it's even too expensive. Get to look at it. In some broadband, you pay 7,000 naira for like almost 10 gig.
You can finish it in a day.
You finish it in a day.
And it's so slow.
Naira, it's so slow. That's a lot of money.
You ask yourself,
you buy the modem. Yes.
And you'll be asking yourself, is somebody else sharing it with you?
You buy the modem with so much money.
Or is it 1.5 gig?
I tell you, when the battery goes out, they tell you, we've run out of that one. You need to buy a new modem.
In South Africa, for example, DSTV that we watch, it comes with internet.
Yes.
Even most of the other countries, it comes with internet.
Yes. Even when you go to buy your phone, they pay monthly. They just
years back there was a fight against MTN that they were supposed to against MultiChoice. That was supposed to provide the service of the satellite they're giving us with internet. Yes. It's supposed to come with internet monthly.
Yes.
But I think with the oncoming digital switchover, that service will be provided.
Hopefully.
Yes, when the DSO thing comes on stream.
Hopefully.
That service will. No, I know that's going to happen.
But that's a norm.
No, it's going to happen.
Standard practice.
It's going to happen. You'll be able to use
internet straight with your.
But like any Nigerian, I can't say that I'm enjoying the services of these guys the way I should, because look, the percentage of dropped calls is horrendous. The percentage of drop calls, and sometimes too, you could send a text message, an urgent text message, and that person receives it maybe the next day.
Unfortunately, you just
it tells you delivered.
Yes,
and it tells you delivered.
And imagine you are my doorstep and you don't know my house. It's like I'm outside. Till tomorrow.
When they say that, look, in Nigeria, that we have more GSM phones than they have in any other country.
You have what?
It is that we have more GSM phones,
lines.
GSM lines, I mean, than in any other country in Africa. It is because of our infrastructure issues. Because you do not trust
Which one will work
that
well?
wherever you go, each of the GSM service providers will give you quality service.
you just have
you
three-
now go and acquire
Three
like
lines
you
or
alone,
four.
3 or 4 phones.
That's what happened to
You'll
me.
be going about.
That's what happened to me in Akoko. I was going to send you a story. You were waiting for me. Where is it? Okay, the thing didn't come.
You cannot bet. You can't bet that this one will work. So you go around with 4
three
phones.
phones.
I was in Ghana in
should have tried that.
2006.
Can I quickly take a call from Nasarawa? Is this Samuel? Good evening. Good evening, Samuel.
Hello, good evening, sir.
I think there's a problem. You might be speaking, but I'm not hearing you. I think there's.
I'm enjoying this
maybe
program
technicians
at this
will look
moment.
at it. Thank you so much.
You know?
I want
So
to.
it's not when we talk
contribute
about
Hello?
penetration. It's not, we're deceiving ourselves. The number of people who have phone lines does not suggest that we have that penetration that we should have. It's just because of infrastructure issues. Because you are not sure that in this place this one will work, in that place this one. So you take 3 phones. And we journalists, we went for an event in 2008 in Ghana. It was the Nigerian journalists that were taking like 2 phones, 3 phones. They thought they were in their country.
Our own phone has 2 SIMs.
Yes, one phone. The time will come when those Chinese will design a phone that can take 4
All the
SIMs,
line in
all
one.
for Nigerians, because we have refused to solve the problems that we should solve. The governments must solve the problem of power supply. They must solve the problem of power supply, because is what these guys actually spend to run their businesses is huge. You have to pity them.
It's too much.
You have to pity them. So we must do something about that. I was telling someone that MTN offers free services every day at a particular time of the day, every day in Uganda. And I was like, why is it that in Nigeria they don't give us that?
Happy hour.
And it is prime time that they offer these free services. He now said in Uganda they have uninterrupted power supply. They don't have in your country. They pay so much. They pay so much to power their base stations
But let me ask you
here
a
in
question.
Nigeria. But they don't pay that much elsewhere.
Gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Remember when phones used to be thousands of naira, maybe like 30 some, even SIMs used to be very expensive. They had the same base. We were using the same means. There was no lights really. We're using the same generator. So what changed all of a sudden? Because I think the more the merrier.
They have more base stations
and
But
more
they-
numbers.
But they have more.
They've expanded.
Numbers. They've
But
expanded.
people are investing more into telecommunication nowadays. Because just imagine, people load so much on phones. You know, it's easier now. Then it used to be papers you load. Now you can load via anything. It's easier. I believe they are making more money.
No, but the
Because how
infrastructure-
do you measure it? How do you
But
measure
you still have to look at the infrastructural gap. It's key you look at that. Infrastructure is what drives this business. We're talking about power, for example. We're also talking about key concern of security. And if power is a critical thing, if we don't address the issue of power in this country, this concern will keep lingering into every sector of the economy.
I forgot to add as your conclusion. Jide, want some few seconds because I need to go on a short break.
Well, I know that a hike is inevitable, but it should not be done in a manner that will be really, really harsh on the Nigerian people. I think that the Nigerian people are suffering at this time, and government must do something about the suffering of our people.
Okay. And when journalist Hangout returns, Wiki and Emechi in war of words over Rivers parliamentary election. Please stay with us. Ahead of tomorrow's parliamentary rerun elections in Rivers State, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the All Progressives Congress, APC, are locked in war of words over alleged plans to violence by one another. The war of words between the two major political gladiators was triggered after the PDP accused the ruling APC of working hand in glove with security agencies and INEC to rig the election, and also planning to assassinate Governor Wike. The APC, in a sharp response, accused Governor Wike of storing weapons to be used against the people on election day. Gentlemen, what do we... This is appalling.
Why always Rivers State? Why is it... It's only the election time you hear about the Minister of Transport. Whenever there is an election, that's the only time the Minister of Transport don't even know those contesting for the by-elections.
At all.
It's not Wike. It's not
Amechi.
We are not even hearing those guys. We are not even hearing anything about their campaign, what their ideologies are,
What they have to offer.
what they have to offer, what they are pushing for. But what we are hearing, it does, what do you call it now? Amechi, is Rivers State his personal estate? And for the governor as well. Are you playing multiple roles as a governor, or as also somebody that is going to be in the legislature, or what? And it shows you one thing. I think Rivers State is a state that people should sit down and really study. This is a failed state. And the electorates are the most annoying part of this. They are supporting one against the other. And at the end of the day, they are always the one that will lose out. Because they are not how will I put it now? They are not making decisions well informed. Where a sitting minister will say, this is the election of our lives.
But even because when you said now that we're hearing Amechi, that was the same thing that happened when Wike was a minister of education for state.
It means we are celebrating mediocrity. It means we are saying it's the norm, which must continue like that.
And which should not.
Look, because it happened when Wike was a minister. When people now saying it's 1-1. Indirectly, the people have accepted defeat. We have accepted failure. We have accepted that anything goes in this country. It shows the weakness of the system, the weakness of our institution. We can see the Inspector General of Police, because of our by-election, in how many local governments, the IGP is also going there.
It's
over 28,000 policemen. Look, they just had an election in Ghana. It was a normal day.
Normal day.
Yes, people were going about their activities.
Even a whole country.
There was no crisis. Nobody was threatening. You would die. You would protect your votes.
How many gunboats? I think 20-something gunboats. Are we going for war?
I've lost count. I've lost count. When I had that 28,000 policemen, that means the number of policemen is higher than what was sent to
the last Ondo,
because
23,000.
That was a
and higher than Edo, because Edo was 26,000. So what is really going on? What is really going on election day? You hardly see these policemen. You are in Ondo now.
Yes.
How many of those policemen did you see? Somebody was telling me that perhaps some people just use such figures to collect money.
Allocation.
Yeah. You say, okay, we've made arrangement for 50,000 policemen. In there, maybe only 20,000 will be
But in this instance, really, don't we really need 20-something thousand policemen?
We do not need up to that number. Our elections should not be militarized. I've said it repeatedly that elections should be like a carnival. But it's our politicians that are to blame.
Yes.
Because our politicians see elections as a do or die affair. And the Nigerian god of impunity, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, was the first to say that an election is a do or die affair. You remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
He introduced that lexicon into our political.
Since then, they bought into the slogan.
Yes, language.
And the president said
now everyone
do or die.
To tell you that everyone is worried about Rivers State, President Muhammadu Buhari has had to come out that please,
it's not a do or die.
Don't spill blood. Forget about what Obasanjo said many years ago. An election should not be a do or die affair, because in Ghana, it's not a do or die affair. Obasanjo has been an observer at many elections in Africa.
It's not do or die.
And those elections were not do or die.
He says he's the godfather of impunity.
If you are not listening to me, that's your problem. Because I don't repeat myself, because I'm not. It's only stammerers that repeat themselves. I'm saying that he has been observer in many elections. Remember, even Zimbabwe election, he was an observer. Where Mugabe was saying that Obasanjo had come to rig their election. That Nigerians are masters at rigging. That Obasanjo had come to rig. But it turned out that Obasanjo didn't rig any election in Zimbabwe. But he's on record to have said that an election was a do-or-die affair. And his own offspring continue to see election in Nigeria as a do-or-die affair.
I get to think of it because when they said his own offspring, really.
Are they not?
They're all from
Amechi
PDP.
and Wike,
They are both from PDP.
They were drinking champagne together.
Oh God.
Yeah, he used to be chief of staff of Amechi. So
Yes. He was Amechi's, the chairman of Amechi's campaign.
Charles is calling from Delta. Good evening, Charles. Hello, Charles, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good evening.
Hello?
Yeah.
Good evening, we're listening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Charlie.
How are you?
Fine, oh.
Your contribution, please.
Please, I greet all of you there. I want to contribute a little
Okay.
about the River State issue. The problem there is that the people there, the electorates, they don't have a say. If you dare not vote the way they want you to vote, you are in trouble. You are a mad person. And then the Wike and Amechi issue is a long-drawn battle from when Amechi was governor. And then all what happened during that time is what is happening now. So the electorates, they are just there. They may not even come out to vote at all. So the only thing is based on attitude. The way we behave in Nigeria is very disappointing.
Okay.
Must we do the wrong thing because we want to prove a point?
I wonder.
So that's just the contribution
I just
I
have
have.
to let you go. Thank you so much for your contribution.
You guys are-
And let me, because you mentioned the electorate, the way you painted the electorate, they are
So they are just there.
they are just there. And
As if they don't exist.
So what votes are we going to count?
But really,
Because somebody has said election has never really happened in Rivers before.
Rivers.
It's always rigged, according to somebody. Or you have violence marrying it. Because how many times have we postponed this same election?
when a governor,
Figures are usually written.
well, when a sitting governor of a state is during the campaigns, if they shoot you, take
You
cover
dodge
and shoot
a
back.
fire back. That's a governor. A governor.
With such statements, who do you think want to go and vote?
Even the coppers said, let me.
The coppers have said they are not going
They are
anywhere.
not serving any fatherland.
So
this time
even the last time, with all the police that were deployed, people still died.
Soldiers were
Soldiers
killed.
Soldiers were
killed.
killed.
On election
Now,
day.
nobody has been able to account for the lives
Yes.
that were lost. Nobody has been punished. Nobody has been tried.
people are still being killed.
And people are saying, and now you are asking people to come out.
Did you see the guns that they mobbed up in just two local
And
governments?
for just from cultists, that's from a faction.
So
of,
that was really, I doubt if the
Those
electorates
guys.
will really come out for this election, just like you rightly said, because at this critical time that people cannot even feed and eat.
Jide, you know what I read again? You know, they said I shouldn't believe the social media, but where I read this one, they said even the guns are missing now. The ones they've submitted, they are reducing.
See,
I said
those
no.
who are saying that do not know the quantum of guns.
Okay, they just leave that one. They will go and bring
Circulation
another
in
one.
in
Rivers.
Rivers State. They don't
You
know.
don't have an idea.
People buy guns like candy. You see, if they don't know, they don't know. Look, that part, you know that Nigeria, our borders are porous.
Very, very.
Either and our waterways are porous. People travel from River State, they go as far as Sao Tome, Principe. They go, bring in weapons, they buy these weapons from the black market.
And you know, you just bring them
Bunkers exchange weapons
For crude oil.
for crude oil.
in. But when you even give
You understand? So you find a
the
single,
right to even safeguard
you
our
find a single
coastline,
politician has up to 50 militants guiding him
and they must have
in the
guns.
south.
Yeah, they must have.
They have guns. So you are bringing maybe a truck load of policemen. You want to intimidate that person. He is ready. He has his own army.
They're not even afraid of.
They are not
the
scared.
police. They're
No,
not afraid of
because
police or
the
military.
gun that you are carrying, he has the type of gun that matches what you are carrying.
Even
So
better,
that-
much better
and
from
they
the
are
black market.
and they are even motivated. If you get
No,
what
they
I
are
mean.
ready to die. That is the thing.
Or they've died before.
You see, I'm really worried that Amechi and Wike have continued to put the lives of our people at risk.
For years.
Yeah, just a battle for supremacy.
Yes, I know.
You see, if someone wins an election and you are defeated, you wait for 4 more years.
But they said there's a whole lot here because Jide, get to look at it. They said, you know what happened during the House of Assembly when Amechi was there? The impeachment saga, the using maize to beat each other. Maybe that's what they are afraid of now. So the party at the center wants to take.
You are endorsing.
Because I'm making a point.
It's still the same thing that we're talking. It's still battle for supremacy between two top dogs.
You've done it.
The reality is, this election should be about our people.
Yes.
But when two individuals who are not even taking part in the election put themselves in the forefront, they become more or less like the poster boys of this election.
Okay.
It can't be right.
We don't even know those.
We don't know those are contesting.
Gentlemen, I need to go on a short break, and when we'll come back, we'll still talk more. Don't go anywhere, please. So welcome back, gentlemen, as we round up on this same topic. So what's the stake now, and what should the people look at? And you're saying, okay, what should we be looking at? Because I'm confused.
But
what should we look
really,
at?
we've ironed out things like Jide said, and we've all agreed. Number one, we don't even know those that are campaigning, contesting for elections. It's two gladiators that have seen themselves that I'm superior to you.
Egotistical
individuals. That's all the things, the narratives they are driving is not even about the people. It's not even about the state.
Themselves.
It's about themselves.
And people are dying.
And I'm wondering how these same kind of people find themselves into the place of power in the first place.
So it's the fault of the electorate then?
Well, do the electorates really have choice?
So votes
in that state?
Votes
in
don't
a state where on a rainy day you are told that more than 1 million votes, were returned on a rainy day.
That's true.
So are you sure that the votes came from the people?
I remember when.
You remember that year now?
I remember.
Do you think that's the same River State?
I remember Comrade Joseph say when they say the cows vote in the northern part, even the fish in that side do vote also.
So it's not the votes of the.
It's not the votes.
So we just sit down and go and write.
And
they know each other. They know, and Amechi and Wike know each other. They know the tricks that they usually play on election day. That's why, remember that last election, Amechi said, if I don't see from EC8, I will no election.
And he insisted.
He said he must see from EC8. Otherwise, there will be no election. He refused to be part of the election. So before INEC still went ahead and validated the election. Because without that from EC8, you don't have an election result.
Yeah.
So, and it has to be original. If it is a fake from EC8 that you are given to write on, it will not be accepted.
And he knows the gimmick, so
he knows the trick.
All right, gentlemen, let's move. Because it's sad, really, to note that the victorious Super Falcons team members have not been paid their allowances and bonuses. According to reports, the players have launched a sit-in protest at the hotel they've been lodged in Abuja over the non-payment of their allowances and bonuses. They have been involved in a face-off with the Nigerian Football Federation over 238 million naira accumulated bonuses, which they have been owed since the qualifier stage of Falcons. Amidst the protest, the sports minister, Solomon Dalong, has said the federal government did not expect the Falcons to win, and that's why they are facing difficulties in paying their players their entitlement. I don't forget that nobody even knew the team will emerge victorious. That was what Dalong said. Dalong, alongside other officials of the ministry and the NFF, visited the players yesterday to plead with them, but the players insisted that they would not. They would only call off the protest and leave the hotel if the entitlements are given to them. See, gentlemen, what do you think? Is Dalong just being truthful, or did he goof? Can I use that word?
He's being mediocritical. He's acting like a mediocre. And I'm asking myself, is this the same person the president had to wait for almost 7 months to appoint as a minister? Look at one thing. Can they try this with the Super Eagles?
That's what the lady said.
No, you cannot do that. Let me tell you something. The day...
But they suffered also. Is it the Super Eagles that suffered of recent?
But they're not born there where those guys are. Look, the day they had the final match, the minister with his delegation and people from the NFF, they boarded a chartered flight directly to watch the competition. Immediately the competition was over, they came back with the chartered flight. They went there with allowances, pocket allowances, expense.
For themselves.
And they said something. They said, we were sponsored. And the question you begin to ask yourself, why did we have people that lack the capacity to think? To be able, because I know in the past, people like Glo have sponsored our players.
Yes.
And when people like that have stopped sponsoring, then you begin to ask yourself a question. What's the reason behind that?
It's the corruption.
It's the corruption that is in the glass house and the sport ministry. Now, you know, in this same competition, you know, I think the award prize was increased to about $100,000.
Yes.
The question is, where is the $100,000? Also, the allowances, these girls never collected any allowances throughout their stay in camp. You promised them $3,000 with the group stage. You said when you get to quarterfinal and semi-final, they will get $4,000. But when they get to the final, they will get $5,000. Not a dime.
But that's corruption. Not
that is corruption.
Not in my country.
Because if you are saying you don't know they are going to win, but at least you know they are going to participate. What about the participation? Okay, they participated up to semi-final. Let's even remove the $5,000 for the final. Where is that one? It means we have people that are not forward thinking in government, and the NFF, because sports is big business globally now, most especially football. And if you have people, even in South Africa, look at their league, the way they are showing it on TV. It means you have people that cannot even think and engage people in the private sector to put their money down because of this thing, corruption, no transparency.
Corruption.
They will have money to board. And you know what? These girls, when they went with the chartered flight, after those girls won, the flight that was bringing them, I think, through Yaoundé or Douala,
almost crashed.
And they had to stay they stayed at the airport for almost 24 hours.
This is appalling, Jide. What do you think?
It is.
It's not.
I'm really ashamed as a Nigerian that this has happened, because the problem is the world has become a global stage, a global village. Everything that we are doing to these guests, that they don't deserve, is being read all over the world. Everything. There's nothing we are doing now that those South Africans have not read about.
But Julie, let me stay the side of the federal government or the side of the minister. He said we're broke, we don't have money. Maybe that's the reason that they should wait. The way they paid the boys, I mean, is it under 17 of recent, they pay them their entitlements later. They should wait. They will pay them. They promised.
Some sincere here. Do you know how many months' salary was owed?
That's
the person who gave you. They were still owing him. They were still owing. Those state government was still owing Shuaibu Amadu when he died. So these players have had enough. They have so many cases, and they know that we do not respect them as much as we respect the men. Yeah. So they know that once you're able to sweet talk them and they go home, that is the end. We've seen players who are injured on duty for the national team who were abandoned. Yeah. We've seen that happen in this country. Yes. For Solomon, that long to say that nobody expected them to win. It just shows that he's a top-rate jester in the corridors of power. That's just because I can't imagine a minister would talk like this.
It's so demoralizing.
This same minister, remember after the Olympics, he said, I don't think there's even any need for preparation for Olympics.
I used to think they misquote the man. No. But apparently the man.
When you see him with the funny cap that he wears, and you listen to him, make a habit of listening to him. That's why when you make a habit of listening to him, whatever is attributed to him will no longer shock you.
At the end of the day, they didn't, because I love the man with the physique, the funny cap and everything. But apparently I was so... Because you said, is this the man that
you don't have to wait for
months?
6 months to get this kind of person. You can pluck this kind of man out of any part of Nigeria and say, okay, minister, he does not deserve to be a ward chairman not to talk of minister. It has been an embarrassment to the government. President Buhari, when of us have been saying that President Buhari should take a second look at his cabinet. When we see people like this, like when we see them in that cabinet, we are reminded of the urgent need to do something about that cabinet.
From Niger State, is it Abdul Razak or Abdul? What? Abdul Razak, good evening, sir.
Yes, Abdul Razak. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. We're waiting for your submission.
My take to what you're discussing about today is we have to look at people before giving them posts.
Yeah.
The issue of Solomon Dalong, I think, is a lawyer, but he knows nothing about sport. That is one. Even though, as a learned, person, as they do say, he has to study very well before saying some things. You came out, I saw him saying that we did not expect them to win, but we know they are participating.
Why would they expect them to
they
win?
are dues.
Okay, thank you so much, Abdul Razak.
Why should we say we do not expect them to win? They've won this cup repeatedly. They've been African champions for so many years. In fact, for as long as I can remember, since around like 1992.
You see, are we becoming pessimistic as a nation?
No, not us.
Okay, the minister.
We should be talking to
I'll say us.
Us,
because the man that called just now said we are not expecting them to.
He was saying
didn't say that.
Oh, he is the president.
Yeah.
Okay, but please, because I was wondering, we said we need money in this country as a nation. You know, sport is another avenue to bring money into this country.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
But it seems this man is not even facing it.
No, that's what I'm saying. They've not seen sports as big business. And transparency, efficiency, and the plans and the concept you have is what brings the private sector to put money into sports in any place. Because if they can't see transparency, they can't see corporate governance. They can't see your strategies and your plans. Nobody. They've done it in the past. Your long-term development plan, maybe 5 years.
There was a time that Mobile was sponsoring
the international
tracks.
tracks.
Yes, I remember.
Where is it now?
You know what came to my mind? The coach, the white man that we just took off, he said, hopefully we should pay his salaries, or else that would be something that
you can't.
It's not, if we don't pay, it will not shock me. If we don't pay after a few months, it will not shock me.
That will be
because from
another
Manfred Horner, we've been hoeing coaches. We've been embarrassing ourselves. FIFA has had to intervene several times. But the question is, even for taking part in World Cups, FIFA gives hefty money to football associations across the world.
Every year.
Where is the money given to the Nigerian Football Association? Remember, people like Taiwo Ogunjobi are still on trial for corruption. NFA officials, as we speak. As we speak. So the NFA, the NFF itself, they call themselves NFF now. The NFF has been enmeshed in corruption for so long. And it's going to be difficult, like the Female Football League, they've been looking for sponsors for years. They can't find. It's going to be difficult to get people to come and put their money in the sports pots. If we continue with this attitude, maladministration, we are not putting the right people in charge of sports. If we continue along that line, sports will continue to decline in Nigeria. And the example we have set for, with these guests, people who have done their country proud, and we've treated them shabbily like this. We've treated them like a sweet wrap on the floor. It is extremely bad for us to treat our heroes in this manner. People who have done well for their country. It will demoralize other people.
Yes.
It will make them feel that, look, this country is not worth dying for.
And
that's why the president must step into this matter. I thought they were supposed to even go and see the president.
I thought they were at the FEC meeting.
The problem is
they left the FEC meeting.
How many things must the president step into?
And you know the another person that should be demoralized.
He's stepping into rivers. It is not.
I don't know.
He's going to step into telecoms again. He will step into sports. He will step into forest crisis. So that's what we're saying.
He's the person that some of us trust.
Yes. So he's the one
that trust has wins.
Well, I still trust him.
Yeah, but
as long as this guy
is should have some instruments
to
point to someone in his cabinet that you want me to trust rather than him.
Yeah, I've not seen any.
So then let me trust him.
Maybe there will be a total reshuffle.
But for him to have such companions, questions.
Because if
It still has time to bounce them.
You see when
No,
Nigerians are
We
there.
will encourage him. We will encourage him.
Jide must still be the one to bounce. Why don't they?
Who will not?
Because they should be ashamed. Because
will
if
bounce themselves. In Nigeria-
Dalong had read all the tweets
In
and
Nigeria,
listened to this story,
do
if me
people
as a
resign in
Dalong,
Nigeria?
I will resign.
No.
Do people resign in Nigeria?
I
Do
know they
people
don't.
give up their positions
They
in
don't.
Nigeria?
It's
So-
embarrassing.
No, they
so
always
you are
believe
expecting that
it's
long
the
to
opposition
resign.
that is behind it.
Maybe there will be a change. This
That
time will
long.
change.
That long will not resign.
But they believe it's the opposition that is behind all those things.
Gentlemen, we need to go. Opposition again.
It's opposition.
No,
It's the PDP.
that's unfair. Oditilo, thank you so much. Gentlemen, I had a lovely one today, but embarrassing one also. Jide, thank you also. And that's all on Journalism Hangout. Join us next week for more interesting episodes of the program. And if you can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Nigerian time, you can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Dakpo. Awu Ajoy. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.